Hello here and welcome to Pardon My Vlog. Welcome to everyone else. I'm afraid I haven't seen your most recent vlog here. 40 minutes is a bit long for my schedule at the moment, but I see you've been talking about Pathfinder, which is cool. I know we've been talking about that kind of with our group recently, kind of character creation. We've been talking about the real gamer, the true gamer, the munchkin, all of the different kind of archetypes that kind of people build to, like personality types within role-playing, within kind of character creation. So I'm not sure. I'm wondering if you maybe touched on that, or I know that you said also that kind of every rank that you put into a skill, or at least when you first create your character, should have some kind of history to it, some kind of reason for being there. So maybe the example that you gave was, say, you've got a rank in knowledge history. Well, where does that come from? Is it something that you were taught by your parents? Did you just spend most of your time in the library? Were you a wizard who studied extensively on just local history, national history? Or some other avenue? There are plenty of things you could have talked about, and 40 minutes is a bit long for me. But in your penultimate video, the one before that, you kind of said that you wanted to stop talking about this now, and I'm wondering if you were talking about just kind of video games in general, because I don't have that much else to talk about other than video games. That's kind of my thing. I don't know. Is the thought that was going through my head. I was wondering, maybe should I talk about Pathfinder as well? Which I can't really, because I don't know what you've said. I could just be saying the exact same things, and people don't want to see that. So I thought, what else am I doing? And so I thought I might talk about Buck Legacy. You can see this, just put it in front of the camera. Buck Legacy, I'm quite into. It's basically a My Little Pony Friendship is Magic inspired card game. It's basically like a dungeon crawl. It's kind of like a D&D My Little Pony crossover card game dungeon crawl thing. It's supposed to be multiplayer. I have played it myself, just kind of on my own as a one-player thing, and I think it works quite well. You do need to kind of house rule a few things and change a bits here and there, but most of all I think it works really quite well as just like kind of a game of solitaire, just dungeon delving by yourself. Boss monsters can kind of destroy you quite easily if you're just one man, but there are ways around that, kind of maybe rewriting some of the kind of a bit overpowered boss monster rules, at least overpowered when you're not fighting as part of a group, and apologies, and kind of starting gold. Maybe you want to kind of run two characters at the same time. There are plenty of things that you can do to kind of change it up so that it's easily converted into a one-player game. But kind of let's go into it. The main thing, well, I don't know. Sorry. The game itself, essentially, you kind of start off, you create a character, you choose your race. You can be Unicorn, Pegasus, Earth Pony. You choose your class. You can be there are lots of different classes. You can be Pirate, you can be Necromancer, you can be Cleric, you can be Fighter. There's like a Limit Breaker type class. There's the Ranger, Thief, Rogue. Then you choose your starting equipment, so you get kind of like one weapon, so you can just get like a short sword, you can get a heavy sword, you can get a mallet, you can get a crossbow, you can get a whip, you can get like a steampunk pistol, and then you have your kind of downtime period. You're in the village, you have your starting gold, but then you can work to make more. You can go to the temple, pray to return your magic points, your MP. You can buy Tesla, kind of bottled electricity to kind of charge up and use your pistol. There are other kind of steampunk items you can get. There's mechanical wings that can give you flight if you're like a Pegasus. Now, if you're a Pegasus, if you're a Pegasus pony, then you can get steampunk wings and it lets you fly. If you're a unicorn or an earth pony, then you can get kind of steampunk wings and spend Tesla to fly. Tesla, it's kind of a cool, well, you kind of need steampunk in whatever you build these days. It's the in thing, it's down with the kids. And I think it's worked quite well into it. And so you can also just buy things at the shop, depending on how many players there are, there's more kind of selection. Whenever you buy something it's replaced, so kind of you can wait for other players to kind of buy things and then kind of swoop in last minute. You can try to work and get more money without other people kind of sniping the equipment that you want. And then you set out, you head out for your dungeon, your first dungeon. There's 3 different kind of levels. There's the beginner, intermediate, and then possibly expert or hard or something. And you start fighting monsters. You start kind of revealing cards from like your monster deck, your dungeon deck, and after you've kind of travelled a certain amount of some cards in the dungeon deck have a compass point. And once you reach a certain number of those, then you fight the boss monster. And generally in multiplayer games, the idea is that whoever does like the most compass points, whoever gets the most skulls, whoever defeats the most enemies, you all kind of get medals. If you survive at the end, if you kind of land the killing blow on the boss, I think, then you get medals. And whoever wins basically is the one who has the most medals. But the best way to kind of stop a player from getting medals is to have them die. But if they die, then you're probably not going to be able to defeat the boss monster at the end, so you want them to live. So it's kind of a juggling act of helping and not helping and kind of lifting people up but then kind of screwing them over. It's kind of politics and stuff. It's an interesting kind of way of going about it, and it's an interesting game. It's an interesting mechanic, but because I've kind of played it mostly by myself, it's all just kind of about the dungeon crawl. It's all about going to the boss and defeating it. Depending on the boss that you choose, that's kind of like your dungeon. It's the same card, they kind of flip over, so once you get to the end of the dungeon you flip it over and you all fight the boss monster. And depending on what location you're in, then it kind of has different effects. So it can reduce the levels of all of the monsters, so the beginner areas kind of do that, intermediate kind of leaves them as they are, and then expert just kind of buffs them up to be even more powerful. And kind of every time you kind of defeat a monster you get some cash, and then you kind of defeat the boss monster, or boss monster defeats you and you have to run away back to town and you buy new equipment, you buy new gear, and you kind of set out again. Any kind of incapacitated players are revived unless kind of everyone in the party dies, and then you kind of start again if you want, if you feel like, or just house rule it and just say that you will wake up in the village mysteriously as if it was a JRPG. And I think it's kind of a really fun game. I'm not sure how big it is, even like within the My Little Pony community, because I'm not sure if it's like an English company, so it might just be like from England, but I think they've got like a forum, or like people on forums talk about it. It's like a really cool card game. I picked my copy up, I think, at the Telford convention this February just gone, just the MCM Expo, and I think they were being sold for about £30 a piece, which I think is good. It's a decent sized game. There's lots of replay value because there is like a massive chunk of dungeon decks. So even if you kind of run through lots of different dungeons, then you're not going to get repeats. All the cards are unique, and even if you kind of decide to start on like intermediate or expert dungeons, then the feel is quite different. So like different things kind of pop up, kind of different traits are given to different creatures. I think one of the locations kind of does something special for zombies. One location does something special for aquatic type creatures. You can have kind of monsters that stick around on your kind of battlefield and kind of affect other creatures that are in play, and it all kind of builds up, and I think it also kind of creates quite an interesting world. And I think there are kind of lots of different ways that you could play this. I think you could probably run it as like a kind of more of a D&D kind of campaign, and just like have one player just be like a dungeon master and kind of be in control of all of the decks, be in control of the shopkeep, be in control of the monsters, roll all of the dice for the monsters, and then just have players roll for themselves, and just kind of offer kind of exposition and descriptions, because you get kind of, they're all of the cards have like great artwork on them, so you can kind of spin tales, you can kind of create reasons for adventuring, and you could probably build like a big kind of foundation of story just around these cards and around this game. And I just think it's kind of a hidden gem, maybe. As I said, I haven't really done any research, I just kind of picked the first thing out to talk about that wasn't a video game. And I really enjoy this game, I really like it, I love playing it with friends, I love playing it by myself. I love the fact that it's My Little Pony inspired. I love that the bad guys are, well, there's like a pony necromancer, there's Nagapon, which are Naga ponies, that's kind of half snake, half pony, that are really kind of creepy and disgusting, and I like them a lot. And it's just kind of like a really D&D feel, but it's got like the magic, it's got the steampunk. Just even, and it's like a quick game. You can get through like one round or just like one dungeon, maybe like half an hour. It's not something that you need to kind of like set out an evening for, but you can do if you want. You can kind of try and blitz through all of the dungeons if you wanted to. You might be kind of decked out to the teeth with different equipment, and I think that each time you play, you can kind of do things quite differently. Like magic users, it's kind of done in magic ranks. There are 3 ranks of magic. Unicorns kind of start off with 1 magic rank, which gives you access to like a good number of spells, and then you can choose like a magic class as well. You can kind of be the unicorn necromancer, which gives you rank 2 magic, which gives you kind of much like more scope, more things to do. It's very different to say playing a Pegasus warrior. It's a very different style of play, it's a very different kind of way of tackling creatures. And I've never really played the ranger, I haven't even done that yet. I've had this for half a year now, and there's still kind of combinations and ways of playing that I haven't tried. Still new things to explore, new things to do. And kind of it's always great fun getting kind of like defeating a boss monster or finding a monster that kind of gives you epic loot. There are these like ancient artifacts that are all kind of really powerful and really amazing, and just all of them are just, and kind of getting them is fun, just like seeing how they interact with what you've already got is really fun. And I think just like, even if you, because when you play by yourself you die a lot, and just kind of doing that and just kind of seeing like the kind of adventure that you've created, the kind of items that they've collected, like what they've done, the magic that they can do, like all of it is just kind of a really cool, interesting, it's cool and interesting kind of thing just to think about, just the character that you've created in just by, well, not by kind of putting any effort in, just by playing the game. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of fun to kind of put that onto the characters that that have just died. So yeah, Buck Legacy, they have websites and there's different places you can go for information. There's probably lots of MLP forums that talk about it. But yeah, possibly go for the English ones, because I can't remember if this is just like an English game just kind of produced in the UK. But it's fun, I like it, I think you should buy it. I think you should at least kind of go onto the YouTubes, and there's probably footage of people playing this, I would imagine, and I would kind of check it out, see if it's your kind of thing, and yeah, just selfless promotion. Buck Legacy, it's a really fun game, check it out. I'm still talking about games, but I don't know what else to do. Hopefully, I don't know, you found this interesting, or hopefully you'll find Buck Legacy interesting if you ever try to search it out, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks, 1 week. I'll see you for whatever we produce next. I'll try and stop kind of waving my hands all around the place as well. It annoys some people, but it's what I do. But it's late, I'm getting tired, and I really should kind of call it a night now, so thanks for watching, I'll see you again.